When we think about creativity and innovation, in particular in relation to the situation that we found ourselves in with COVID, I was about to say post-COVID, but unfortunately we're not quite there yet. I think from the research that we conducted, as well as working in the Global Sport for All movement, I would say that the learnings that have come out of this for the organised sports system, number one, synergies. I feel like COVID has taught us more than ever that there's so many actors that are working on complementary priorities. So instead of us working in silo in our various offices in various parts of the world, now more than ever, I truly believe that there's a need for synergy, especially when we look at the impact that COVID is having on the sports system. We look at the loss of jobs, the loss of funding, the closures of local sports clubs are being hit exceptionally hard. So I believe synergies is exceptionally important. Strong leadership, again, now more than ever. We have so many different actors and we have the leaders there, and I think that if we all are working collaboratively with a leader at the forefront guiding us, then this is a way for us all to be a little bit more experimental as well and not be stuck in kind of the safe zone of the traditional sports system. I think it's necessary more than ever now to evolve with the way that the world is going. If we stay stagnant, we're going to end up in an even worse situation. So the synergies, the strong leaders, fair and equitable transfer of funding. Again, right now, although there's been pots of money that have come up as a way of kind of relief funding for sports clubs, I think that we need to, when we eventually come out the other side of COVID, we really have to have a look at how funding is distributed to the sports system. And is this truly done as fair as it could be at the moment? I'm not so sure, and I think this is going to be a huge learning. And the final point I would make about being innovative in this time that we found ourselves in would be in relation to capacity building. If we think of, you mentioned Starbucks there, Darlene, if we think about these huge corporations and how they have sustained success, how they have faced recessions, they've faced changes in consumer behaviour, they've faced so many threats and challenges, but still somehow managed to keep their feet in the ground, to keep customers coming through their doors. I think that if we're able to use a fair distribution of funding and really with the leaders at the top training the sports clubs in capacity building on the ground so that they're able to sustain themselves and not be reliant on this funding that's coming from possibly another part of the world or coming from a different sector. If we're able to build capacity on the ground and have the movement of funds as a more kind of organic process also, I truly think that we can come out the other side of this COVID and the sports system can survive and also, you know, learn in a positive sense from what we're going through at the moment. I think that we have innovation in both the corporate and the corporate sector and the not-for-profit sector. But when we consider the organised sports system, agreed, I would say that it isn't as advanced. And I think that there's a tendency for very obvious reasons with regards to trying to retain the funding or, you know, kind of conduct your activities within the framework of the funding that you're given. So there's a tendency to play it safer in terms of innovation. But I do think that we are progressing though. Thank you. Such an important point, especially when we look at the statistics of domestic violence that's going up in households all around the world. When I was speaking about the synergies, this is not only within the sports sector, but I think this needs to be cross-sectoral as well. If we're going to have vulnerable groups that are stuck at home, stuck in potentially very threatening situations, I think it's important that we're working that we're all talking to one another. So we have all of these great resources, all of these great tools that are in place. If we consider some charities or government services, if we want to offer a truly safe space for women, then we all need to be talking to each other. This involves the government services, charities, the sports service, so that if we're offering something online, we can't just offer it online and say, okay, well, we say it's safe. We have to fully ensure that it is. And this involves bringing in experts from different areas and from different communities. I think that we all know that we're not an expert in everything, and that's okay, but it's important that we are talking to those that are experts and that are able to provide the information or the tools that are required in order to keep our target groups safe.